Hi everyone, welcome to this week's episode of Monday Mensaje or Monday Message, which is our weekly energy forecast. I'm Gabrielle. So lovely to have you here with me, whether this is your first week or you've come back to see what is going on this week. Before I get started, quickly, just want to let you know my books are still open for personal readings. The only place you can book with me is theglamspirit.com. You can find out more info about that. And then also, this is a heads up that on that same website, I'm going to have something super exciting launching in a couple weeks. So stay tuned. It's going to be great. I'm really excited to talk to you more about it next week. And yeah, just to get you into the vibe, you know? All right. So first things first. The card of the week, because that's what we're all here for, right? The card of the week that represents our energy. This happened, I think, last week too, where two fell out, so I took them both. I guess the universe has a lot to say. And with the times that we're in, I'm not really shocked. Okay, so we have the Knight of Pentacles. We have the Five of Wands. And then at the bottom of the deck, we have the Ten of Wands. So if you are not familiar with what these cards look like, I'm using the Rider-Waite deck. You can head to my Instagram and you'll be able to get a visual about what's going on, because I really do feel like that helps when you are trying to process some of the stuff that I'm talking about. Okay, so wow, it's been a couple weeks, right? I feel like a lot has happened in the last couple weeks. Is this just me? No? This Neptune-Jupiter conjunction was last week. We had the full moon over the weekend. There's a lot of really intense energy. I feel like tons of shifting, tons of movement, whether that's mindsets or these aha moments or things changing in your career and relationships, even maybe in your physical location. Some of us have moved. It's been a lot. So this is kind of all tying into what I'm about to begin here with, but I just want you to know that if stuff is really sort of, let's say, been in uncharted territory lately, you are not alone. And I bet you so many of us listening can agree with what I'm saying. I know it's not just me. As I always say, as the collective, we're mirroring each other. So I know that if there's a ton going on for me, so much is shifting and changing, that must be the case for so many of you out there. So just want you to know you're not alone. Some of you may feel like it on your own journey as far as family and friends. Maybe no one in your life is sort of on a spiritual journey that you can sort of compare to. So I just want to make it a point to say it here that this group who's listening, we get it. We understand, and you are not alone. Trust me, I'm speaking from experience. Okay. So I just felt like I had to say that because it's been a lot. I feel like everyone I know has been calling me, texting me to be what the hell's going on? So I know it's not just me. All right. So first things first, Knight of Pentacles. What I'm getting here, well, I feel like the story I'm getting is sort of a combination of all the cards I have here. So again, Knight of Pentacles, Five of Wands, and Ten of Wands. So the Five of Wands is an interesting card because it depicts 5 different characters and they look like they're fighting, but no one is actually, they each have a large wand, and it would seem like they're all sort of quarreling and beating each other up. But if you look at it, there's no actual, I guess, symbol of real physical harm. So I say this to say, in case you're not familiar with tarot, I say this to say that we have our Knight of Pentacles riding in, right? And the Knight of Pentacles is not a fast-moving knight. This is earth energy. We're talking about slow, steady momentum, slow, steady movement. This is very unlike the Knight of Swords, which we had a couple weeks ago, which is sort of dashing in. The Knight of Pentacles is not doing that. This character represents offers being made in your life. There's a couple different stories here, so I'm just going to start with one and kind of shift around and see where we go. One story that I'm getting here is that for some of you, you are this Knight of Pentacles. And it's you're entering this new beginning, and this makes sense because last week's card, I believe, was the Ace of Pentacles, right? And that has that large doorway, and I was talking about jumping into new beginnings. And so for some of you, I feel like you are this Knight of Pentacles, having just, really committed to walking through this new door, or maybe you're really about to. And there's prosperity there. There are blessings there. There are good things to come from actually gaining the confidence and the decisiveness to say, you know what, I am going to follow these new beginnings and enter this new chapter, which obviously, like I said, is uncharted territory. But sometimes that's where we find like our biggest blessings. So I feel like, again, some of you are the Knight, right? And you have this pentacle in hand. It's like all of the, what's the word I'm looking for? All of the potential for what you could have in love, in career, in creativity, in happiness, in anything you could have ever wanted. It's sort of like in life. But you have this 5 of Wands here and this 10 of Wands. And what this is telling me is like, it's sort of like the universe saying like, this is the last push before you start to see some of these rewards. For some of you, some of these blessings may have started to come in one way or another. And it's sort of like a little bit of incentive where it's kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, see some of these good things starting to show up. Like imagine how many good things will find you when you fully step into this new life, this new you, this new chapter, whatever it feels like you're stepping into. And then there's more that awaits, but we have to sort of cross a couple bridges before we get there. So this energetic message this week is sort of about like pushing through this, I guess, let's say transitional phase, right? Like you've walked through the door, but you haven't actually arrived at any sort of destination yet. You're kind of still feeling things out. And like I said, the 5 of Wands depicts this chaotic, sort of quarreling energy, but no one's really getting hurt here. And so I say that to say that while things may seem a little chaotic, a little sort of like up in the air, and there might be some obstacles that you need to overcome now that you've actually stepped into this new chapter, or you're like right about to, but do not let those obstacles deter you. There are still some things that need to be figured out before we can have our final like woohoo celebration of like, hell yeah, we did it. We're fully in this next phase. It's like, yeah, there are things that come with stepping into this new chapter that aren't going to be super easy, right? There might be a couple setbacks, a couple obstacles, a couple things that you still need to figure out. But the universe is saying like, do not be deterred by this. All of these things are happening for your growth, because every new chapter and every, like, let's say stage of elevation that you reach requires a certain level of wisdom and knowledge and lessons learned. And so how are you going to learn those lessons unless you have overcome certain obstacles that have made you either look at certain things about yourself that you're trying to work on, or that like have been holding you back, is what I'm hearing. So maybe some of these obstacles in your way are more like perceived obstacles than real ones. It could be things that you're avoiding, is what I'm hearing. And so some of these things that come up could be making you look at old patterns, old mindsets. It could be old like self-limiting beliefs or self-sabotaging habits, things like that. And if you have been working on those things, that means, okay, the universe might come throw a couple tests at you to say, well, you've said that you're working on this and you're learning this. What are you going to do when you're faced with it again? Are you going to fall into old ways of responding to these situations? Or are you going to take your new knowledge, your new mindset, and who you are now and apply that person to that scenario? Because that's going to give you a different outcome. If you continuously keep responding to the things that come up in your life the same way you always have, then like what's really going to change, right? Like the cycle is going to continue and you're never going to quite really learn that lesson. So the 5 of Wands is telling me, again, a lot of these obstacles that are in your way are honestly for growth. They're for you to gain wisdom and to step out of your comfort zone and really start applying the things that you've said that you've been working on. It's not about just talking the talk. We're walking the walk now. That's like essentially what the deal is here. And so here you are riding in with your pentacle and you're like, hell yeah, I'm ready for this new life. but let me make sure I really learned everything I need to know before I fully embrace and like really, really settle into this new chapter. And I think that's what I'm getting at is like, we're already like sort of, we've crossed the thresholds. There's sort of, for some of us, like no turning back to our old life, but we're still in a transitional period. And, you know, these transitional periods are usually here to teach us something. And so before we can fully let our hair down and settle into this new chapter, there are still some things, and like what I'm hearing is loose ends that need to be tied up. So while you're super excited about where you're headed, look at maybe what loose ends need to be tied up in your life. Are there still some situations that you need to fully close the door on, or fully sort of heal or gain closure from? Are there a couple things that have been on your mind that you need to like attempt or tackle? Or for some of you, I'm seeing this could be like really mundane tasks, like stuff in your everyday life. Like, are you trying to enter a new chapter when like you're feeling a little bit chaotic because you haven't kept up with the things that you need to do on a daily basis? And then for others of you, it's more bigger scenarios in your life that maybe have to do with other people. So see what loose ends need to be tied up. That's super important. And then, okay, moving to this 10 of Wands. If you're unfamiliar again with tarot, the 10 of Wands is a character who is holding all 10 of these wands. And it's like a burdensome image. It is not like a Hercules situation where it seems effortless. No, this character is absolutely struggling with holding the weight of this. And this tells me a couple things. Some of you may be feeling like you are at your freaking limit with everything going on. And honestly, I don't blame you, because I have absolutely had to face and deal with that feeling myself the last couple weeks. And I'm feeling in a much, much, much better place now, but it's only because I faced it. You know, I had to do the hard work of being like, okay, what are the things that are really bothering me? Let's stop avoiding it. Let's face this head on. Let's really work through it. And you can't start working through something until you're honest with yourself about it. So there's that. So maybe there's some things that are going on that are burdening you, and you've been kind of like, you know, turning a blind eye to it. Well, universe is saying to enter this next chapter, we need full honesty. We need you to fully face the stuff that's going on that is causing you pain, causing you sleepless nights, causing you to distract yourself, numb yourself with, you know, fixing other people's problems, or with overworking, substances. There's so many ways that we like numb and distract ourselves. So that is not going to be something we're bringing into this next chapter. So in order to do that, you have to face it. I really don't, like I said, I don't blame so many of you for being at that like, oh, I'm at my limit feeling, because that's sort of like how things can be right before blessings start rolling in. And when things are about to really start going in your favor and really working out in exactly the way that you wanted, sometimes we do get hit with a lot of this stuff, because again, it's like lessons we need to learn, things we need to clear up before we can be open enough to receive the best possible outcome for the things that we like desire and need in this next phase of our lives. This too, like I said, it's really like really strongly within me. It's this feeling of what's burdening you. That's like really what I'm getting from this is like, in order to bypass, some of you might feel like, and I think this is a different group of you now, could be overlapping, but I feel like I said there's a couple different stories here. Some of you may be feeling like you, again, are sort of maybe on the receiving end from this night, right? Like the night is sort of like the universe, and it's delivering you things, and you're entering this next phase. You're excited about this next chapter. A lot of things that you've been manifesting are like right there, right? They're so close to coming into fruition. And you might feel like you're at a stalemate. Like, oh man, I really felt like energetically, I was really anticipating these things. Like sometimes when we manifest things, we can, in our physical bodies, feel it coming in, right? That anticipatory feeling like you're getting a lot of different signs and synchronicities that are pointing to like, oh wow, it's like about to be delivered. Two things I want to say about that. One, patience is key. I'm not saying it's easy, but it's so necessary, because in divine right time, these things will be delivered to you. And you're not going to know why the time wasn't right at the moment until more time passes. And then you're thinking, things happen and you're like, oh, okay, I get why I had to wait a little bit longer for that thing, that opportunity, that person, that experience, whatever it is, right? So hold the faith, hold the vision of what you want your life to be. Do not let go of that just because you, like I said, may feel like you're at a little bit of a stalemate right now. Okay, so, sorry, there's just so much popping in my head at once. Okay, so for those of you that feel like you're on the receiving end from this night, right? Like I was kind of joking that this night is sort of like the universe itself delivering you things, and you've been getting these like messages and synchronicities, and you're like, oh, okay, things are rolling. And then you might feel like, oh, wait, maybe they're not. Maybe they're not, because you've gotten a little bit impatient. You're like, okay, it was supposed to be coming. Like, what happened, right? This is where this Ten of Wands comes in, because it's like, what is burdening you? What do you have to continue releasing before you can really have space to receive all it is that you're asking for in this next phase? So while we may think like, oh, okay, like I've done the work, I've been persistent, I've made the physical effort in reality to work towards that thing, and I've now had the emotional capacity to know I'm worthy of receiving it, and now I'm making the energetic space for it. Like, what is it, right? So I want you to really take a look at, like I said to the other group, what is burdening you? Because you got to release on some level the attachment to the outcome. Again, not an easy thing to do. But when you're working with this group, I feel like is like, I'm talking to like a group that has trying to manifest a lot of things. For that group, it's like you have to detach from the outcome, because maybe you're focused on the how and you like think things are going to like play out in a very specific way. When you are manifesting something into your life, you know that you're worthy of receiving it, but you have to detach from how that thing comes to you, right? And so maybe you're like, this is a really easy example. Let's say you're asking for like success in your career, but you're trying to visualize it with this very specific position that you want. And maybe that position isn't really the right one for you. There's a better one out there for you that, let's say, pays more, has more freedom, yada, yada. But you're so focused on, I want that specific job, that the universe is stalling a little bit on delivering you this new opportunity because you haven't opened your eyes up enough to see that there is more than one option. So I say to you, open up your eyes to really understand that the delivery that you're expecting is coming. It might just be in like a different package than you expected. And that outcome is always going to be better than the one that you wanted, even though it doesn't seem like it sometimes, or it might seem a little bit scary to like release that much control. But the entire way that you work with the universe is by surrendering to the knowledge that the universe has your back and it's going to deliver exactly what's best for you. And like we said, sometimes what's best for you is a little bit different than what it is that you desire. So stay open-minded, and I really want you to realize that maybe those specific visions have been part of what's burdening you. You're holding so tightly onto the idea of something that if you just let go of your grip just a little bit, you might actually find yourself in a better place than you anticipated, right? And underneath this 10 of Wands, because I looked a little bit because I was curious as to reading a little bit more into what the theme here is. And right underneath this 10 of Wands is the High Priestess and Justice. And that told me a lot. It's like, this is for everyone. It's like, whatever group you're in that I'm talking to, you intuitively know that everything is going to work out. You intuitively know that stepping into this chapter was the right thing to do, even though there might still be some obstacles to overcome. Like I said, for wisdom, for learning lessons, for gaining all the knowledge you need for this next stage of this journey, right? So open your mind to, what can I learn from this versus why is this happening to me? That is a huge, huge mindset shift that has really changed my life. of course, am human. And so I think to myself sometimes like, oh, this sucks. Like, why is this happening this way? Yeah, I'm not exempt from that. However, I pull myself out of that feeling by then reframing and saying, okay, wait a second, I'm doing it again. I'm like, woe is me again. And I say, what can I learn from this experience? What is this experience trying to teach me? Because that is just wisdom that you're going to hold on to for the rest of your life. And the largest way we learn wisdom, the most effective way that we learn it, is through these experiences. So if you're not facing any sort of hardships, I really doubt you're going to learn a lot about life and yourself and those around you and humanity, right? So again, reframing, what can I learn from these scenarios? What are these scenarios trying to teach me? And also, knowing that everything is going to be balanced exactly as it needs to. Because again, right under the High Priestess, I had Justice. And so it's like intuitively, deep down, if you are able to quiet your fear, quiet your doubt, your worries, your anxieties, maybe quiet literally other people in your life that are in your ear, you know what's right for you. You know what your heart desires, what your soul desires. You know what you at least believe is going to make you happy and what path you want to take. So one, don't be deterred by any of those things, right? Like fear, anxieties, worries, other people. Don't be deterred by that no matter how burdened you feel right now. This is not the time to be second guessing, oh my gosh, like what have I done? Blah, blah, blah. I'm like too far from turning back. Like where the hell have I like gotten myself? No. Truly, and I'm speaking from experience here. I'm speaking from a lot of experience with this exact feeling. Right when things get really, really tough is exactly when things are about to turn around. It is this final push. And that's really like the energy of this week is the final push. And again, the energy expands beyond the week, but that's like what the vibe I'm getting is right now. And like I said, some of you may have already started to see movement in some of these things that you're really calling in and like things are starting to work out for you. So this week, if some bumps, show up in the road, don't feel like everything's falling apart, everything's going to shit, everything is like not working out how you wanted to. Don't let those things completely like throw off your faith and your hope. Because it's important that while you want to feel your feelings and, like I said, vent to someone or journal about whatever these fears and anxieties are, know that they're just that. They're just thoughts. Does not mean they're reality. They are possibilities that exist within your mind that aren't having anything to do with like the best outcome, but the outcome that you are worried about or fearful of. So know that when you're in that headspace, that's all it is. Those fears and those doubts and those worries are just thoughts about things you hope don't happen. So get those things out. Don't feel like you can never think or feel that way. Just know that once you're done having that little session of like, oh shit, what have I done? You move back into a space of reframing it into, okay, I know that I'm strong. I know that I can get through this because I've gotten through every other difficult thing in my life. I have to see what I can learn from this experience, what I am learning from this experience, and what can I do in this situation to show my growth? What can you do in these scenarios that you're facing to show yourself, the universe, and those around you how different you are, how much you've grown, how you can handle these things differently and better than you have in the past? And that's not to say that you're going to handle all of these things perfectly all the time, but it is an opportunity to demonstrate everything you've learned and actually start putting it into good use. So call upon the wisdom of these last few months. I know that it has been a very sort of insane, honestly, like start to 2022 for so many of us, like very unexpected kind of stuff happening. So it's like call upon the wisdom that you've learned from that you gained from that. Because whether you are the Knight of Pentacles in that one story or you feel like the Knight of Pentacles is the universe on the way to you, no matter what, we have the High Priestess here saying, deep down, once you silence all of those thoughts in your mind, that it's working out exactly as it needs to, that it's happening the way it needs to, that all is going to fall into place in divine right time. There are forces beyond us that are sort of pulling the strings sometimes. And so they're formulating things at times, and we obviously cannot see what that is, how that's going to happen, whatever it is. But sometimes they just need a little bit more time, you know? So I need you to seriously have faith in that. Yeah, because I think that if you sort of allow ego to take over in this scenario, and ego is going to tell you, well, if it was meant to happen, it would have happened already. Or if this was supposed to work out, then this would be easy and there wouldn't be any challenges, or all the things that ego says, like, I deserve this thing now, I've worked so hard, blah, blah, blah. Listen, let ego have a tantrum, and then you reframe back into your higher self mindset. And your higher self is saying, you know, things are happening in divine right time. You know that all is going to work out exactly as it needs to and beyond your wildest expectations. Your higher self knows that you are equipped with all of the knowledge that you need, you know, to get you to where you are now, and you're acquiring new knowledge, and some of this knowledge is going to come in the form of overcoming more challenges. That's just like really how it is. So, you know, and then again, justice showing up here is letting us know that all is going to be delivered as it needs to be to balance your life, right? And also a sign to start balancing your life in any way that is going to prepare you for this next chapter. Because again, you're calling in all these things, but do you have the space for it? Do you have the time for it? Like, are you calling in new opportunities, but you barely have enough time to do everything you need to do in your daily life right now? Because then how are you going to fit anything extra into your life? Are you calling in high vibrational love when you haven't worked on loving yourself, when you haven't worked on your communication style, being vulnerable with others, taming ego so it doesn't get in the way of relationships, right? So it's like when you start calling in these things, be ready to do the work around whatever that is. So like I said, if you're calling in high vibrational love, you need to make sure you're doing the work to make sure that you're going to be in a healthy relationship when it finds you. It would suck, honestly, if you did find that relationship that was healthy and then you ruined it with old habits, patterns, mindsets, ways of being. So yeah, and then if you're calling in something with your career, it's like, do you have the time for this new project? Do you have the mental capacity to give that project your all? Or are you burnt out and exhausted and maybe need a little bit more time before you actually call something like that in? And when you're in the waiting period for any of these things to come through, know that that is the best time to rest and get these things together. It's like the universe, at times, this waiting is like a blessing because it gives you time to work on these things, to do the shadow work, to sit with your higher self, to make connections like what I'm talking about, have these aha moments, and most importantly, to rest, to physically rest your body, to rest your mind. Because when these things start coming in, I mean, it could be like a whirlwind, and then you're going to be happy you took some time to rest. You know, you want to enter this new chapter and fully settle into it, feeling revitalized and fresh and ready to go instead of exhausted and burnt out. And I think that's how a lot of us have been feeling. This is your reminder to also like get outside. If you haven't, it's really like huge. I think I sometimes even myself like forget the importance of nature and how much it heals me. Like I was able and blessed and so grateful to be able to spend so much time outside last week, and I feel like a new person. And I just felt like I had to remind you all, because we get sucked into our daily lives and forget to like go commune with nature. So let her heal you. Get outside if you can, even if it's just on a balcony. Even if you're just walking to your car, just like slow down, take a deep breath, and actually like look around you and like really like take it all in. You know, like so much of what I'm learning right now is about slowing down. Instead of anticipating things and calling things in and being impatient, I'm just learning to slow down, slow everything down. And I feel like I'm sort of like recalibrating back into like the way nature intended us to really function. And I know that's really, really, really not easy for so many of us. But it's important to work that into your life in any way that you can. So I hope you enjoyed that message. Really, again, overall, to sum it up in one sentence is do not lose hope right now. Keep going, because we're almost there. Like we are almost there. We've stepped through the door. Now we're just like sort of in this transitional period before we really start settling into this new chapter. And I really also do want to say eclipse season is approaching, and this could be part of what starts shaking some things up. That's like sort of what eclipse season is known for. But I don't want you to fall into the doom and gloom that so many people are sort of pushing about eclipse season. Like, and this is maybe why this message had to come through this week, because there's a lot of like fear around the eclipses, and unfortunately, so many talented spiritual people and practitioners and whoever really, I don't know, it's this like hype around the fear or something. I'm not really sure what it is, but I want you to know that eclipse season is all about miracles as well. It is a time of unexpected things, right? And so a lot of people take that to mean like catastrophe and chaos and things falling apart. Well, let me tell you, things that fall apart during eclipse season, it's meant to happen. That's just the truth. And also, it is a time for random blessings and deliveries and, like I said, miracles. So I would rather at least this is what I can't tell you what to do, but at least what I'm going to do is focus on the fact that miracles are abundant during eclipse season. Things that are meant to be happen during eclipse season. So look at it with a positive lens rather than fall into the fear of the unexpected, right? Like the unknown can also be so magical, so beautiful. So like, I'm really excited for eclipse season. And like I said, I think the timing of this message really did have something to do with that, because it's a time where it's going to be a little bit easy to fall victim to like mindsets that maybe don't serve us anymore, like even in the spiritual community on social media especially. So keep your head up, ask yourself what you can learn from these situations and how it can aid to your overall growth in your spiritual journey. Okay, moving on to messages from the universe to the signs. I always link the decks below. At least when I remember. I'm going to remember, because I really do love this deck, and it is created by a super talented woman, and I love women supporting women. So I will tag this deck below. She's an incredible artist as well. So she designed all of these cards herself. I really admire her for that. Okay. Let's start with, so I have them all shuffled, ready to go. And we're going to start with Aries. I'm going to mix up the order in future episodes. I just forgot to do that this week. All right. Okay. So Aries, from our Cosmic Guidance Deck by Annie Tarasova. So Aries, okay. Your card says stillness, lack of movement. That's just what we were talking about a minute ago. So Aries, it is, let's just say, maybe stereotypically not in your nature, but you're going to have to slow down right now. And this is exactly what I was talking about. Slowing down to rest your physical body, to rest emotionally, to rest in every way. That way, when these things start rolling in, you're actually feeling energetic enough to give it your all, bring your best to the table, and like really dive in head first. But you can't do that if you're burnt out. So this stillness, this lack of movement is really a blessing for you to get your life together for this new chapter and kind of see where you need to be spending your energy when the time comes. Taurus, let's see. Okay, Taurus, this card is all about focusing on the heart, emotions, and intuition. So again, this is making me think of that 10 of Wands. What is burdening you, Taurus? Is there something burdening you that maybe has been bubbling below the surface? And maybe things have been kind of fun lately. The energy was a little bit like carefree the last couple weeks. So maybe you've, I don't want to say convinced yourself, but maybe convinced yourself that some of the things that have bothered you in the recent past are not bothering you anymore. And I gotta say, like I always say, feel your feelings as waves, because they will come back at a later date as a tsunami. Like I always say that because it's true, and I've experienced it time and time and time again. So pay attention to your emotions this week, especially Taurus. Maybe there's some things that are going to come up that are sort of going to remind you of some things that you have been ignoring. This is also a time for you to lead with your intuition. So when thinking about these scenarios, really feel intuitively what's best for you, because your higher self, your intuition is never going to lead you in the wrong direction. And I also want you this week, Taurus, to maybe think about like opening up your heart a bit. So what allows you to feel like you are spreading love to those around you and to yourself? Because I think that those around you and you really need that right now. So how can you spread some love this week? Speaking of Gemini, your card says love. Allow it to pour in and out of you. Oh, Gemini. Okay, same thing here. As far as like what makes you feel like you're expressing your love to those around you. What makes you feel, you know, like that like happy, warm feeling. This is at least how I feel sometimes. That like happy, warm, sort of like intoxicating feeling of like, wow, I'm spreading love and I feel so loved and I'm giving my love to others. Like that beautiful feeling. What gives you that feeling? Maybe this is like you giving back this week in some way. This is you letting others know, like in your life, that you cherish them, that you're grateful for them, that you care about them. This is also showing your self-love. So like, how can you treat yourself to some self-care this week, some self-love? What makes you feel loved? Maybe for some of you, I'm feeling like some Geminis out there maybe need to communicate to someone in their life how they feel loved. Maybe like someone needs a little bit help, like showing love to you in a way that you can really identify, like what's your love language, right? Like, do the people in your life know that about you? So this could be a week also, Gemini, where there's some love things popping up for you. I mean, I'm talking about eclipse season, and I'm just saying that like sometimes unexpected things, and well, not sometimes, always unexpected things pop up. So pay attention, because I'm getting this in my mind now that there's something during eclipse season that could be happening in your love life. You know, again, if you're in a committed relationship, I'm not saying anything like this to make you worry. It's obviously mostly for the singles, but you never know. So I just feel like I have to put it out there, or I'll be sitting here 3 hours from now being like, oh my God, I should have said that. What if someone needed to know? So I'm not like holding back on what I say. You'll know intuitively if like whatever things I'm saying are for you or not for you. Cancer, let's see, happy endings, end of a chapter. I mean, wow, this is perfect. So Cancer, again, like I'm saying, you are ending out this cycle, ending out this chapter, stepping into the new one. That's like so much of what we've been talking about in Monday Mensaje last week and this week. And it's this feeling of letting go of that last chapter with love. Any regrets that you may feel for things that you did or said or didn't do, didn't say, shoulda, coulda, woulda, release those in peace, right? Maybe you need to write a letter to that past you about how you're feeling, forgiving yourself, forgiving others, so you can fully step into this new chapter unburdened by that. So this is for all of you really, but especially for Cancer. Know that just because a phase has ended, right, doesn't mean that it wasn't a beautiful part of your life. Of course it was. Every chapter is beautiful in its own way. So release that chapter with peace and love. Release your old self to be resting eternally, right? Like with gratitude, because now you're ready. Like you're ready to step into this new chapter. So think about anything that you could do this week that would make you feel more ready for this new phase, right? Like what is going to help you close out this last cycle, right? Maybe there's some like journaling or something you need to do, some sort of releasing a meditation or exercise that will allow you to shed that fully and then become ready for this next phase. Leo. Okay, Leo. Dream, build castles in the sky. I love this card. Listen, we have like 4 planets in Pisces. Daydreaming is probably not going to be that difficult. If you've been feeling like a little unmotivated physically, but like very daydreamy, sort of out like up in the ethers, yeah, that's because of all the planets in Pisces. I'm a Pisces moon, so like when I tell you I've just been like daydreaming my ass off all weekend, wow, I really, really was. Okay, but you know what? That's good, because this is exactly what I'm segueing into. Dream, Leo, because those things, and this is something I've been reading more about lately, those daydreams you have are not just like I mean, yeah, it's for fun, but it's because it's showing you on a subconscious level, like what you really want. How are you going to go after what you want in this next phase, or call in, manifest, be open to receive, all the ways you could say that. How are you going to be ready for any of that when you don't really even know what you want? And the best way to know what you want is to daydream about your like perfect life. Perfect as in not like that there's nothing wrong with it, but perfect as in like you would be the happiest you could be. What does that look like to you? What is that daily routine like? Who's with you on that journey? Where are you physically in that journey? So continue to dream. And whenever I talk about this with clients, I talk about not limiting yourself, right? Especially in your daydreams. Like so many people limit themselves on what they want when they're even like making up an imaginary scenario. It's insane to me. So dream huge. Don't just dream big. Dream like enormously, because the larger your capacity is to dream up these beautiful things, the larger your capacity is going to be to receive it. So spend some time, step away from the mundane for a second, make a little bit of time this week to just daydream about what your life could be. That's going to help you find this direction when you're stepping in this new door. Also, this is a sign to pay attention to the dreams that you're going to be having this week. There could be a message in there for you. So keep a notebook by your bed and see if anything comes up. Virgo. Okay, Virgo, this is basically like the energy for the entire week, so I'm glad we got a card to sum that up. But Virgo, don't stop. A miracle is around the corner. I mean, that is really the essence of this week, really the vibe I'm feeling. So Virgo, especially if things have felt like I was saying earlier, maybe you're in that group, some of you Virgos, that feel like you're in a stalemate and the universe was starting to deliver things and then it kind of like stalled and you're like, oh God, like what's happening? Don't stop. Okay, like everything that you've been working towards, everything you've been calling in, it's right there. It's just exercising patience, right? Holding the vision, holding your faith and your hope, and believing that even though there's been a little bit of a delay or like obstacles in your path, like keep going, Virgo. You're right there. Be open to receive. Reframe your mind whenever you need to, because you're like almost at the finish line. So hold on to that thought, right? Rather than all of the scary ones in your mind that could be making you doubt yourself. This is not the time to doubt yourself. The universe, your ancestors, spirit guides, cosmic family, whoever. This is the time to have the most faith because, like I said, so often right around those stalemates or those like difficult times, right after that is when the blessings start coming in. So hold strong. Okay, Libra. Oh, I love this card. Libra, remember who you are. Return to your roots. So this could be a few things. Whenever, like this specific card in this deck, ironically, is my starseed card. So I know that whenever I'm like reading someone and I pull this, it's usually about like remembering like who you are and why you came here and all that. So if that resonates with you and you're feeling like, ooh, that's for me, perhaps it's for you. I'm also getting a message here. This is also something that can signify looking into past lives. Or maybe you've received some information about past lives. Remembering who you are as in, yeah, like who you might be in this life, who you might have been in a past life. But also when I'm talking about remembering those past lives, I'm saying to remember all of the, let's just say, all of the power and the important like characteristics, right? There's so much power that we've held already in previous lives, right? There's like wisdom, knowledge, power, spiritual gifts, so much that we have already held, exercised, learned, and we come into this life and it's like we're rediscovering it all over again. Maybe you're having a little bit of a doubtful thing in your head of like, am I really like this powerful, amazing, like magical person? Yes. So this is a call to remember who the hell you are. This is also a this card really, it depends on who I'm sitting with, but this is also my card of like, remember your strength. Remember that you've gone through every single obstacle and you're here now, triumphant. Remember that you are capable of living a life that you are ecstatic about. You are so capable of achieving all of the beautiful things that you want this life to be. So it's like this thing of, it's a split message. You're going to have to see, maybe you resonate with everything I said, Libra's listening. Maybe you resonate only with one of those stories. But those are the big three things I'm getting. This is my starseed deck in this card. She has like astrological constellations around this character, and she's holding a full moon, and it's just such a beautiful image. Remembering past lives, maybe this also could be a sign that you're going to start remembering or encountering synchronicities, signs from the universe that are calling you to remember, or it's like some info is going to be given to you about that. And also remembering your strength, your courage, your capability, and really like how abundant you are, right, as an individual. So this could signify that you've been going through like a difficult time. It's usually what happens when I get this card. And it's this call to like, hey, stop it and remember who the hell you are, because you are made for greatness. I remember I said that to Libras last week. I am reminding you, you are made for greatness. Don't forget that. Okay, Scorpio, rest. This is also what I was mentioning earlier. Scorpio, this is like the time for you to just take a second, step back, and give yourself time. Give the universe time. Give your spirit team time to formulate these beautiful things and orchestrate it in a way that is going to be for your highest good. Rest, because what's coming could be demanding of you physically, emotionally, spiritually. And like I said, how are you going to dive into these new opportunities, careers, relationships if you are not feeling like your best because you're burnt out? So in this waiting period, make sure you rest, and I mean rest guilt-free. I don't mean, because I'm calling myself out a little bit here too, not resting while thinking of all the things you could do or all the things that you need to do or feeling guilty about it. Just resting because you know that resting is actually productive. It's productive because it gives you fuel to continue on with all the things you need to do. And you can be your best self when you're rested, and you're no good to yourself or to anybody else when you're burnt out. Sagittarius. Create, nurture your creative energy, Sagittarius. So this card also has like a one hand sort of dropping something into the other. So this also, to me, even though this is not what this card is about, the download I'm receiving is about lending a helping hand, right? It's like sort of the symbolism on this card. Who can you lend a helping hand to this week? Who can you be there for this week? This is also, too, a call to what makes you feel like you're really expressing yourself and tapping into your creative energy. So maybe this is some sort of like hobby where you're going to dabble into something new and express yourself through, like, let's say art, whether that's like painting, writing, all the million ways that you could express yourself through artistic expression. This could be creating some sort of, for some of you, I'm hearing this is like some sort of system. I don't know what that means essentially. You'll obviously know if it's for you. Creating some sort of system. I don't know if that system is to like help others or some sort of program that could have to do with your job. So when I see create, I see this creation of what is trying, this is from something I read, this is why I'm wording it this way, but it's like, what is trying to be birthed through you? What is calling to be born through you? This idea, this could be a sign that this week you might get this like, oh my God, I have a great idea. It just came to me. So be open to receiving that this week. Slow down a little bit so you're able to receive these signs from the universe, your guides, your spirit team, and of course, your higher self. Okay, Capricorn, let go. Relax and release. First of all, I have to just say there's so many different phases of the moon in this deck, like every card. Not every card has a moon on it, but like pretty much, and so many of them are different phases, and every single one I've pulled so far is a full moon. I just think that's like insane after this full moon in Libra we had over the weekend. So anyway, I think there's some symbolism in that. But anyway, Capricorns, let go. that's hard for us, all right? I'm not saying it's easy. Relax and release. So this is bringing me back to what I was saying earlier about like detaching from the outcomes. Like, know within yourself that the things that you're calling in are going to happen. They are already here. They are already in your reality. They are making their way to you, but it's got to happen in divine right time so it could happen in the best possible way for you. You wouldn't want to receive something that's so like important to you at the wrong time. So be patient, release expectations of how something's going to go down, and instead focus on the gratitude that you feel for receiving it. That's what you should be focusing on right now. Gratitude for receiving these manifestations, for receiving these blessings, this wisdom. I know that everything is going to work out. There's like wind on this card, and I feel that the download I'm getting is like things are going to be sweeping into your life. They're on their way. Just let go so the universe can deliver you beautiful things that are maybe beyond what you even are expecting. And also relax too. That like word is really standing out to me. Relax this week. Relax this week. And when I was calling myself out earlier, I'm doing it again. Relax without guilt of what you should be doing, what you could be doing. Know that relaxing is productive in its own way because it allows you to be your best self. Aquarius. This is, again, so many of these are like exactly reiterating what we talked about. Aquarius, your card is patience. Long road ahead, but reward awaits. And again, this card is like, I've explained this one before, but I'm sure you don't remember. It has like a long staircase, and at the top of that staircase is like a doorway. And it's symbolic of the fact that like to get where we're trying to go, it's a journey, okay? It's very rare that things just like fall in our lap. So during this period, like I said earlier, when you might feel like you're at a stalemate, it's really an exercise in patience. Because again, I'm going to continue to reiterate it, things are happening in divine right time. You don't understand yet why it's taking longer, but it's going to make sense at one point. Just when you're in it, it's really hard to make sense of it. So that is absolutely what they're talking about there. And know that at the end of this long road, like all of these things you've been calling in are already there waiting for you. Just trust in the universe, right? Like have patience. And during this waiting period, the best thing that I think like helps me be patient is to just like dive into my gratitude practices, my journaling, making sure I'm exercising, moving my body, and making sure I'm just like in an optimum place to receive when the time comes. That is like a good way to remain patient without just like going completely stir crazy. And last but not least, just exactly what I was saying, Pisces, your card is gratitude. Appreciate present blessings. I love this card because it has not only a beautiful sun, but a stunning rainbow on it. Okay, Pisces, this is meaning a couple things. One, gratitude is the foundation of all manifestation. When you are grateful truly within yourself for every single blessing you have in your life, every privilege, everything that is working out for you, when you have the gratitude within your heart, within your soul, and you express that to your spirit team, to your ancestors, to the universe, to your cosmic family, whoever it is, right? When you feel that gratitude deep within you, in your soul, and you truly understand what it means to be grateful for this life, for this experience, for all that you have, all that you've learned, that is when your blessings come through. The universe will not continue to deliver blessings upon you if you're not even grateful for the things that you have, right? So maybe there's someone here who needed to hear that. But mostly, the larger message I'm getting here is get ready to feel that feeling, because I think for Pisces last week, I think I pulled weight. Well, listen, that waiting you've done has paid off, because when I tell you your manifestations are here, they're here. They are in this reality. They are finding you right now. So be grateful because you know it's happening. be grateful because intuitively you probably feel it coming towards you, this anticipatory feeling of like excitement, right? Like, oh, I think something's brewing. I think something's happening. Trust that intuitive feeling and already be grateful for all the beautiful things that you asked for because they are being delivered in divine right time. So I would like to remind you before I go to express your gratitude back out into the universe through acts of kindness, through affirmations, so many ways, you know, a gratitude journal, whatever it is, but make sure every single day, at least once a day, you call out everything you're grateful for. It's like such a life-changing practice. And that shift is really going to allow you to experience the changes that you're looking for in your life. Okay, so that is the message for this week. Those are the messages from the universe to the signs. So strap in this week. Okay, there could be a couple bumps in the road, but I just really want to reiterate that those bumps are there for us to learn from. We're so strong. We've made it through everything we've made it through in the last couple years. Like, we're fully equipped, if not more than equipped, to deal with these things. Ask yourself what you're going to be learning from these experiences. Rest and recharge because there's going to be so much delivered to us during eclipse season. I just feel it. Like, these things are going to be coming in hot. And like I said, things that happen during eclipse season are meant to happen. So really, like, just blessings that have come to you right on time. So thanks for being here with me. I'm excited to already come back next week. And yeah, you can follow me on Instagram, TikTok, at The Glam Spirit. I will see you next week. Bye, everyone.